Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Learn English Unleashed. I'm John, and I'm very happy that you're here with me today. Whether you're listening in the morning, during your lunch break, on your way home from work, or while relaxing at home, thank you for spending some time learning English with me. Today is going to be a fun and very useful lesson because we're talking about three small words that can make a huge difference in your English. These words are could, would, and should. Excited? Yes, these three words are everywhere in real English conversations. Native speakers use them every day when they speak with friends, family members, coworkers, customers, and even strangers. If you've ever felt confused about when to use could, would, or should, don't worry. You're definitely not alone. Many English learners understand these words separately, but they often feel unsure when it's time to use them naturally in conversation. I remember when many English learners asked me questions like, John, what's the difference between could and would? Or, why do people say, could you help me? Instead of, can you help me? And sometimes learners ask, when should I use should? Yes, that's actually a funny question, because the word should is inside the question itself. These are very common questions, and today we're going to answer all of them in a simple way. No difficult grammar language, no confusing explanations, just real English that people actually use every day. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to understand the basic meaning of could, would, and should. You'll know how to use them in daily conversations. You'll hear many real examples. You'll practice speaking naturally. And most importantly, you'll feel much more confident when these words appear in conversations, movies, podcasts, videos, and real-life situations. That's our goal today. We don't want perfect English. We want confident English. We want natural English. We want English that helps you communicate clearly. Before we begin, I have a question for you. Which word is more difficult for you? Could, would, or should? Write your answer in the comments. Just type one word and tell me why it feels difficult. I always enjoy reading your comments because they help me understand what learners need most. And if you're enjoying these lessons, don't forget to like this episode, share it with a friend who is learning English, and subscribe to Learn English Unleashed so you never miss a new lesson. We have many exciting English topics coming soon, and I'd love for you to be part of our learning family. All right, grab a notebook if you like taking notes. Get ready to speak some examples out loud. Relax, have fun, and let's begin learning how to use could, would, and should in real English conversations. Basic concept. Let's start with the most important thing. Before we learn complicated situations, we need to understand the basic idea behind each word. Think of could, would, and should as special helper words. They usually come before a base verb. The simple structure looks like this: subject plus could plus verb, subject plus would plus verb, subject plus should plus verb. For example, I could help, I would help, I should help. That the verb stays in its simple form. We say I could go, not I could goes. We say she would come, not she would comes. This simple rule makes these words easier than many learners expect. Let's begin with could. The word could often talks about possibility, ability in the past, or polite requests. Today we'll start with the idea of possibility because it's one of the most common uses. When you use could, you're saying something is possible. Maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. There is a chance. Listen to these examples. I could go to the gym after work. We could watch a movie tonight. She could arrive late because of traffic. They could visit us next weekend. The weather could change tomorrow. In all of these examples, nothing is certain. These things are possible, but they are not guaranteed. Imagine you're talking with a friend about your evening plans. Your friend asks, "What are you doing tonight?" You might answer, "I'm not sure. I could stay home or I could meet some friends." That's very natural English. You're describing possibilities. You haven't made a final decision yet. Now let's practice together. Listen to these situations and think about what you could say. You finish work at 5 p.m. and don't have any plans. You could say, "I could go shopping." You see dark clouds in the sky. You could say, "It could rain soon." Your friend wants ideas for the weekend. You could say, "We could visit the beach." See how useful this word is? Native speakers use it all the time. Another common use of could is talking about ability in the past. For example, when I was younger, I could run very fast. My grandfather could speak 3 languages. She could swim when she was 5 years old. We could stay awake all night when we were students. This use talks about abilities that existed in the past. Now let's look at would. This word is extremely common in English conversations. One of its basic uses is talking about imagined situations or preferences. Think of would as the word of imagination and choice. For example, I would love to visit Japan. She would prefer tea. We would like a larger table. They would enjoy that movie. You would love this restaurant. Notice that we're talking about preferences, wishes, or imagined situations. Let's imagine a friend asks you, "What country do you want to visit?" You might answer, "I would love to visit Canada." That's a very natural response. You are expressing a desire or preference. Now imagine someone asks, "What would you do if you won $1 million?" That's an imaginary situation. You might say, "I would buy a house. I would travel the world. I would help my family. I would start a business." Let's practice together. I'll give a situation, and you think of a sentence with would. Someone asks your favorite meal. You might say, "I would choose pizza." Someone offers coffee or tea. You might say, "I would prefer tea." Someone asks what you would do on a free weekend. You might say, "I would relax and watch movies." Excellent! You're already using real English patterns. Now let's learn should. This word is often used for advice, recommendations, and things that are a good idea. For example, you should drink more water. We should leave early. She should study for the test. They should call their parents. I should exercise more. When we use should, we're not giving an order. We're giving advice or suggesting something helpful. Imagine your friend tells you, "I'm always tired." You might respond, "You should sleep earlier." Your friend says, "I want better English." You might say, "You should practice every day." A coworker says, "I have a headache." You might say, "You should take a break." These are natural examples of advice. Here's a simple memory trick. Could equals possible. Would equals preference or imagination. Should equals advice. Let's repeat that together. Could equals possible, would equals preference or imagination, should equals advice. One more time because repetition helps learning. Could equals possible, would equals preference or imagination, should equals advice. Now let's compare all three words using one situation. Imagine your friend is deciding what to do this weekend. You could say, you could visit your cousins. This means it's a possibility. You would say, I would visit my cousins. This means that's your choice or preference. You should say, you should visit your cousins. This means you think it's a good idea. The situation is similar, but the meaning changes. Let's do another example. Imagine there is a difficult test tomorrow. I could study tonight. Possible action, I would study tonight if I were you. Your preference or imagined action. You should study tonight. Advice. Can you hear the difference? These tiny words create different meanings even when the rest of the sentence stays almost the same. Now let's talk about negative forms because they're very important in conversations. Could not equals couldn't. Would not equals wouldn't. Should not equals shouldn't. Native speakers use contractions very often. For example, I couldn't find my keys. She wouldn't answer the phone. You shouldn't worry too much. We couldn't attend the meeting. They wouldn't agree. He shouldn't drive when he's tired. Let's look at these carefully. I couldn't find my keys. This means it was not possible. She wouldn't answer the phone. This often means she refused or chose not to answer. You shouldn't worry too much. This means worrying is probably not a good idea. Here's a mini conversation. Friend, I'm nervous about tomorrow. You shouldn't worry so much. Friend, what if something goes wrong? You, it could happen, but everything could also go well. Friend, what would you do? You, I would stay calm and do my best. Notice how naturally all three words work together. Another great thing about these words is that they make English sound softer and more polite. Compare these sentences. Help me. Could you help me? The second sentence sounds much friendlier. Compare. I want coffee. I would like coffee. Again, the second sentence sounds more polite. Compare. Study more. You should study more. The second sentence sounds more helpful and less aggressive. This is one reason native speakers use these words so often. They help conversations feel friendly and respectful. Now, I want you to practice out loud. Don't worry if you're alone. Speaking out loud is one of the fastest ways to improve. Repeat after me. I could learn English every day. I would like to speak English confidently. I should practice more often. I couldn't understand that movie. I wouldn't give up. I shouldn't be afraid of mistakes. Great job! Every sentence helps build your confidence. Here's another question for you. Which sentence describes your English learning journey today? I could practice more. I would like to speak more fluently. I should spend more time listening. Write your answer in the comments. I'd love to know which one matches your situation. Before we finish this section, let's review the most important ideas one more time. Could often talks about possibility or past ability. Would often talks about preferences, choices, and imagined situations. Should usually gives advice or recommendations. The structure is simple. Subject plus could, would, or should plus the base verb. The negative forms are couldn't, wouldn't, and shouldn't. And these words help make your English sound more natural, polite, and confident. Excellent work, everyone. You've learned the foundation of could, would, and should. In the next section, we'll go much deeper and learn how native speakers use these words in real conversations, requests, offers, suggestions, and everyday situations. Keep listening, because that's where your English will start sounding truly natural. How to use could, would, and should in real English conversations. Welcome back, everyone. You've already learned the basic meaning of could, would, and should. That's a fantastic start, because understanding the foundation makes everything else much easier. Now we're going to move into real-life conversations where these words appear every day. This is the section where many learners begin to sound more natural, because they're no longer thinking only about grammar rules. They're thinking about communication. They're thinking about how real people actually speak. And that's exactly what we want at Learn English Unleashed. Let's begin with could in polite requests. This is one of the most common uses of could in daily English. Imagine you're talking to a coworker, a customer, a teacher, a stranger, or even a friend. Instead of giving direct commands, English speakers often use could because it sounds polite and respectful. Listen to these examples. Could you help me for a moment? Could you open the window? Could you tell me the time? Could you explain that again? Could you send me the file? These sentences are requests, but they sound friendly and polite. Imagine you're in a coffee shop. You want some water. You probably wouldn't say, "Bring me water." That sounds very direct. Instead, you might say, "Could I have some water, please?" Notice how much softer and friendlier that sounds. English speakers often choose politeness because it helps conversations feel comfortable.